Meghan Markle shares new, unseen photos to mark 8-year wedding anniversary with Harry. 8 years. 8 whole years since the world stopped what it was doing and watched a prince marry an American actress in one of the most talked about royal weddings in living memory. And now, Meghan Markle is taking us back there. On the 19th of May, 2026, exactly 8 years after she walked down the aisle of St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle, the Duchess of Sussex opened her Instagram and shared something the world had never seen before. 24 photographs, unseen, private, intimate moments from a day that belonged to history, but also clearly still belongs very much to her. She didn't write a long caption. She didn't need to. Just 5 simple words. 8 years ago today, followed by a sun and a moon emoji. And that was enough.
Because the photos said everything. Split into 2 posts, one capturing the ceremony, one capturing the reception, the images walk you through a day that millions watched on television screens around the world, but from a perspective no one has ever seen. The behind the scenes, the quiet, the real. Many of the ceremony photos are in black and white, and there is something about that choice that feels intentional, like looking at something timeless, something already preserved in history before the ink has even dried. You see Harry and Meghan in a private moment inside Windsor Castle before their reception begins. Just the 2 of them, away from the crowds, away from the cameras, away from the pageantry. 2 people. 1 moment. And then there are the portraits, the behind-the-scenes shots of their official wedding photographs being taken. Most couples only ever see the finished result, the polished, perfectly composed image that ends up framed on a wall. But these photos pull back the curtain. You see the process, the laughter perhaps, the nerves settling, the realization that this is actually happening. There are photos of Meghan standing beside her mother, Doria Ragland, the woman who sat alone in that chapel pew, composed and dignified, watching her daughter marry into one of the most famous families on earth. There is something quietly moving about seeing them together in these private frames, mother and daughter, on a day neither of them will ever forget. Harry is seen hugging a wedding guest with that unmistakable warmth he carries so naturally. And then there are the speeches, both of them, captured mid-delivery, caught in the act of saying words to the people they love most in the world. And the toast, glasses raised, eyes shining, a kiss in front of family and friends who had gathered from across the globe. It is a lot to take in. And then the evening begins. The reception photos shift the mood entirely. 12 images of the newlywed couple on the dance floor for their first dance. And anyone who has ever watched a couple share that moment knows exactly what it feels like to witness it. There is a kind of magic in a first dance that no amount of planning can manufacture. Either it's there or it isn't. And from everything these photos suggest, it was very much there. Meghan is seen flashing her new wedding ring, stealing a kiss, pulling Harry close, and the legendary Elton John, who performed for the guests at St. George's Hall that evening, can be seen at his piano, surrounded by wedding guests, in a moment that felt like something out of a film, because in many ways, it was. This was a wedding that captured the imagination of the entire world. Back in May 2018, Harry and Meghan represented something fresh, something that felt like possibility. A biracial American woman, a divorced woman, joining the British royal family. To many people, it seemed like the monarchy was finally, genuinely, stepping into the modern age. The crowds that lined the streets of Windsor that day, the millions who watched from home across dozens of countries, they weren't just celebrating a wedding, they were celebrating what it seemed to represent. And they appeared to hit the ground running. Engagements, tours, a pregnancy announcement, Archie's birth in 2019. There was energy around them that felt almost electric. But it didn't last.
Less than 2 years after that fairy tale ceremony, Harry and Meghan stepped back from their senior royal roles. And then they left. Not just the palace, not just the institution, but the country itself. California became their home. And the relationship between the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and the British royal family has never quite recovered.
So what does it mean, 8 years later, to share these photos now? Is it simply a celebration? Two people marking an anniversary with the intimacy and nostalgia that the occasion deserves? Or is there something more deliberate in the timing, in the choice to release 24 never-before-seen images right now, in 2026? Perhaps it's both. Perhaps it doesn't need to be one or the other. Because whatever you think about the path Harry and Meghan have taken, whatever side of that very divided public opinion you happen to occupy, the fact remains that these are two real people who got married 8 years ago and are still together, still building, still choosing each other. And their lives in California, far from what anyone might have predicted in 2018, are fuller than they might appear from the outside. Harry continues his philanthropic work with the kind of commitment that rarely makes headlines but matters enormously to the people it reaches. Well Child, the Invictus Games, mental health awareness, online safety for children. These are not causes he dips in and out of for appearances. They are causes he has made central to his identity outside of royal life. Meghan, meanwhile, has built something that is entirely her own. Her lifestyle brand, as ever, has found its footing, selling a range of consumables and homeware to an audience that is clearly receptive. And her Netflix series, With Love Meghan, has now run for 2 full seasons, plus a holiday special, suggesting that audiences are genuinely watching and engaging. Together, they have also continued what some commentators have taken to calling pseudo-royal tours, overseas visits that carry the weight of official engagement without the formal royal structure behind them. In 2026 alone, Harry and Meghan have traveled to both Jordan and Australia for international work. Wherever they go, people pay attention. And then there are Archie and Lilibet, the 2 children who were born into a story they had no say in, who are being raised in California, away from the Windsor world their father grew up in, but surrounded, by all accounts, by the kind of ordinary family life that Harry has spoken about wanting for them. On their anniversary, it's almost certain that Harry and Meghan are spending it with their children close by. 8 years of marriage, 2 children, a continent crossed, a royal family left behind, a new life built from the ground up, and 24 photographs released to the world on a Monday morning in May, as if to say, we were there, we are still here, and it was real. The images, credited to photographer Chris Allerton, who captured their wedding day, have an intimacy that feels deliberately chosen. These are not the formal portraits. These are not the official record. These are the moments between moments, the quiet breath before the next thing happens, the sideways glance, the genuine laugh, the unrehearsed touch. And perhaps that is the point. Because in a world that has debated Harry and Meghan endlessly, dissected their decisions, questioned their motives, celebrated their exits, and mourned them in equal measure, these photographs exist outside of all of that. They are not a statement. They are not a rebuttal. They are just a wedding, a real one, with a mother clutching her daughter's hand and a groom struggling to find the right words, and a dance floor full of people who loved them. That is what 8 years looks like when you strip away everything else. Not a headline, not a controversy,